Welcome to Flying Upstream, the podcast where we uncover the choices, practices, and wisdom that defy mainstream conventions. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Louisa, and together we're here to illuminate the alternative paths that have shaped human experiences through the ages. In each episode, we'll examine ways to move beyond societal norms. We're passionate about how timeless wisdom and unique lifestyle choices can foster healthier, sustainable, and enriching lives.
Join us as we navigate, challenge, and celebrate the beauty and insight of walking the road less traveled. If you've ever felt like you're flying north for the winter while everyone else is flying south, you've found your flock.
To Flying Upstream, free spirits, today you are tuned into an amazing new episode where we're diving into the stories of those who dare to live differently. We're set to explore another incredible journey, and whether you're a regular listener or you're joining us for the first time, remember to like, follow, and subscribe, and then go ahead and buckle up. Get ready for the wonders that living against the grain can bring to you today.
Today we've got Rob Renee. His life was dramatically transformed after a near fatal accident, which marked the beginning of a profound journey. As a former high school athlete and gifted runner, Rob had gained a deep understanding of health and nutrition. Today, Rob shares his experiences and knowledge as a keynote speaker, offering inspiring stories and insights into natural health. He's also an expert herbalist and molecular hydrogen researcher, exploring the benefits of herbal medicine and molecular hydrogen. As a frequency specialist, Rob uses frequency medicine as a tool for healing and is committed to investigating and exposing issues within the mainstream medical system. Through his podcast, I Am Pain Free, Rob focuses on promoting natural and faithful living. Rob, welcome to Flying Upstream.
I am so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here with us today. We want to jump right in and talk about what life was like prior to this new life that you get to live today and this new world that you're diving in. And we like to ask this question because for a lot of us, for me specifically, it was a spiritual awakening that brought me here. So I like to understand the before the wonderful life that you are able to live today.
There you go. Yeah, that's an awesome question because mine is similar but different. I got hit by two trucks in my life. One was a physical truck when I was a young athlete that dramatically changed my life in a significant way. I thought my whole goal in life was to be a professional runner when I was young. And a 4x4 truck in Utah in the winter changed my trajectory for life. But then when the pandemic hit, that was really like the second truck that hit me, but it affected everybody. And that's what really started the transformation in my life is I feel like I came out of the matrix at that point. I saw the vilification of all natural health. And if remember with my story, I was a runner. And one of the books I read early on was Eat to Win. And that book was really transformational in my life. I became a much better runner because I knew how to fuel my body, whereas my competition would be eating hot dogs and hamburgers. And I was eating properly, and I was a distance runner. So at the end of the race, I always had an extra kick. I already had extra oomph, and I would perform much better at the end of a race than my competition. And I attribute that to one, good training, and thank God he gave me a talent to do that. But I think nutrition was also a very, very big part of that. So the reason why I mentioned that is when the pandemic hit, I saw the vilification of all these doctors, and I'm like, and I had no idea what was going on. So I was concerned about my health and my family's health. And I was like, okay, they're vilifying this doctor, and he's just talking about vitamin D. And I'm like, vitamin D's from the sun. I was like, how is that bad? And so I knew there was something weird, but I didn't know why. And so I started doing research. And that's one of the biggest takeaways I want to give people is we need to all take our research upon ourselves now. We can't listen to the mainstream media. We can't listen to the radio. We can't listen to our Instagram friends and folks. We need to go do research on our own in order to make up our mind on important topics. And so health was a really important one for me. And so that's what I started doing. I dug into the health space, and my gosh, what I found was just so alarming. So that's why I call it the coming out of the matrix is I didn't realize that I had been lied to in my entire life from a health perspective. And then I found out a bunch of other things, kind of going down that rabbit hole. But in general, that was really my enlightenment. And then during that phase is when I really had a really strong connection with God. And my faith just grew dramatically. And then I just now a 100% different person than I was prior to the pandemic.
So I want to back it up just a little bit more. So you briefly touched on you were a runner, you had good nutrition,
Yeah.
but it sounds like you were living in the matrix, as you call it. What was that life like for you before?
Well, it was, it was a fine life, right? It was like the American dream life that, they teach you that you need to go to school, you need to go to college. And then after college, you need to get a job at a Fortune 500 company and get a 401k. And then you need to have a white picket fence house. And then you need to watch sports in the evening and you need to watch the news at night. And then you need to have a dog and you need to have 3 kids. Literally, I was living that life, right? That was my life. And that was all the things I was taught. But what I really ended up finding is I had no time to research things for myself. I had no time to understand what was really happening in this world. So they design our lives to be very, very busy, and you don't have time to think for yourself. Looking back upon it, that's how I kind of viewed it. I was just my head in the sand, just going through life as it was designed for me, even though I was the one in control of it. But I didn't realize what I was really doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I wanted just to take the time for you to call it out because I think that resonates with so many people in our audience that we're living that life. We are told, get a good job, study hard, go to college, get married, have the dog, the fence, everything.
Yeah.
And it's these moments like what we'll ask you about next that shift us so dramatically that we can't go back.
Yeah.
Right?
That once you see it, your eyes are open, and then your life is dramatically different from then. So yeah, I totally agree with that. And that happened to me with the pandemic and health, and then my relationship with God. I've always been, not always, but I grew up as a Christian, but I was called more of what I would call a creaster. I go to church on Christmas and Easter, and or I'd go there on Sunday, and as soon as the door hit me in the butt, I wouldn't think about religion until next Sunday, right? And so now I'm just 100% different from that. I read the Bible every day, and I really believe that He is guiding my steps in a dramatic way. And so I really am trying to listen to the Holy Spirit and let Him lead my life. And my gosh, it's been so fascinating and fun to do that because all the stress of life has gone away. And I'm just like, okay, what would you like me to do? And I have that conversation, and I really work hard to understand my faith more and deeper. And that's a really big part of my life now. And then that transcends into my research and what I'm trying to do to help people. And I'm so excited just because I really feel that I'm finally stepping into the life that God intended for me at the beginning. I look back on my life and He chiseled me from everything from learning how to eat healthy and be a good athlete and runner and knowing that your body is amazing. And then just learning in my career, I went into the corporate world for 20 plus years and I learned how to communicate with people. I learned how to sell to people. I learned how to work with different types of people, regardless of race, color, creed, anything. It didn't matter. We all come from the same creator. And so just those types of things that He just kept chiseling me along the way. And then boom, He woke me up with the pandemic. He's like, okay, now it's time for you to learn that you've been in the matrix. And then I started researching stuff for myself. My wife gets so mad at me sometimes because she'll tell me something and I'll say, oh, great. But I don't believe anything she says, not in a bad way. I don't mean that in a bad way. But what I do is I take that information in and then I go do my research and I go against all the resources that I've been finding that's valuable and valid. And then I come back and say, oh, okay, yeah, this is right. Or, hey, maybe have you thought about this? And so we have more of a collaboration to talk about topics. And because there's so much information out there that's just so wrong. And it's really hard to decipher it because if you hear that information 5 different times from 5 different sources, you would just assume it's true. And that's how they've built this communication matrix for our lives, is that we hear this agenda 5 different times and we assume it's true. And now I realize that, oh my gosh, that's just so not right, and that's not true. So I have to go do my own research and then realize I can't listen to the mainstream media because most of what they're telling us is an agenda and not the truth. So that's been a
And
fascinating journey.
it's so true. It's so true, and I'm so glad you brought that up because what happens is that we tend to get stuck into whatever paradigm somebody else puts us in. We don't even get
Yeah.
to choose, right? It's like the algorithm, and when I say algorithm, I'm talking about not just the internet, which is a big part of it, but the algorithm of whatever life and whatever way we're supposed to view the world. We kind of just get dragged into it based on whatever else, whether it's our family, our friends, what social media is saying we should be doing, how
Yeah.
we should be acting. And a lot of us forget that we have the strength within us and that we have the capabilities like on our fingertips to go and find out what the truth is. And a lot of it for me during my own awakening, it was like, well, what's my truth? Kind of like what you
Right.
mentioned that you
Yeah.
experienced with your wife, right? It's not
Yeah.
that you're, that you're not giving validation to what she's saying, but it's like you go in and you take it in and then you're like, well, what's true to me? You do
Yeah.
your
That's
own
right.
your own
Yeah.
research, listen to
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a lot about nutrition, and we mentioned about you being an herbalist. Can you talk to us about how did all of that play, right? Your white picket fence, and then
Yeah.
the pandemic and your connection to God. How did that all play into where you are today and what you're doing today?
Yeah, it's an awesome question because it was really, interesting in respect that I'm like, when the pandemic hit and I was checking out all the things that they're trying to tell us, and I saw the vilification of the doctors as we talked about. I'm like, how can I help the world? I'm just one little guy, and I'd lost my sales job because I couldn't travel, so they downsized the sales team, and I'm like, oh boy, what am I going to do? And I had no clue what I was going to do, but I started doing all that research, and then I found out the corruption. I'm like, well, I want to keep my family healthy. So I'm going to go start looking at how I can use natural herbs, back to my nutrition days of learning that the body, your God made our bodies wonderfully, and it's really complex. But geez, if you think about it, what you put in your body is how your body operates. And so I went back to that premise and said, okay, I know that what I eat is important. So let's start finding the right nutrients to help keep our bodies safe during this pandemic period. And it's been really cool because he just keeps, the Lord, in my opinion, is leading me to the right people at the right place at the right time. So the first, I was getting formulations for some supplements, and then he introduced me to this quantum energy frequency person. And I'm like, quantum energy, what the heck is that? I don't believe that. I had no clue about how your body is made up of energy. And so I went down this path and created a company called QE Strong that has frequency based skin patches. That's amazing and it works really well. And it was really exciting. And the company's still in existence today. But then I wanted something that like help fix people, help the core underlying problems. Because as I was researching, frequencies are great because they interact with the body and they get your body in a healing state, is what I call it, because your body's no longer in strife. And when your body's no longer in strife, it can start healing. But then the fascinating thing happened as I was doing research on all the biblical ingredients in the Bible. I'm like, how can I make something magical that just really helps people in a big way, right? You look at the top 5 health issues that people have. It's cardiovascular is a disease, the leading cause of death in the country. And then it's the weight issue, obesity. You look at the pictures from the beach from now versus 30 years ago, and you're like, holy smokes, we are a lot bigger people than we used to be. And then you have the blood sugar issues, right? Our food supply is so bad and it's being so tainted that the diabetes and blood sugar issues are just going through the roof. And so I'm just like, how can I help with those? And so I was trying to find this right combination, and I just really couldn't find something that was super duper special. But then guess what? I kept asking the Lord, what is it? What is it? What is it? And he led me to this practitioner who had this magnesium blend that creates molecular hydrogen inside the body. And man, that was so cool because he and I joined forces together where I took my best 7 biblical ingredients that kind of matched what the molecular hydrogen benefits are. And we created a product that I believe is going to be mainstream in the next couple of years. It's going to be on every shelf and it's going to be in most homes because of how important this product is in people's health. It really helps, in my opinion, with all of those issues we discussed earlier. So it's really exciting because you have anybody that has a health issue, this product, it could really significantly help. And then you start talking about athletes and the benefits even for an athlete. So it's amazing how this product works and helps. So I do want to, talk about molecular hydrogen at some point because that's a really big differentiator. But I know I've gone on and on this question, so I'll pause and let you ask some qualifying questions.
Well, you know what I'm really curious about is, so you've mentioned that you had 2 trucks hit
Yeah.
you that
Yeah.
helped change your whole mindset, change your life, obviously. What was that moment when it clicked for you, when you realized I cannot continue down this path?
Well, one, with the first truck, it was pretty enlightening because I got thrown 36 feet and landed on my face, and I was unconscious on the side of the road and almost died that day. So if it wasn't for my friend to unclog my throat, I would have died. So that was a pretty enlightening one there. But the pandemic, it was just through that research. It was like the more I dug, the more I became awake. And then it was just like, oh my gosh, I've been lied to my entire life. I didn't realize that. I really went through, like, how you have a death in the family, people you love, and you go through the grieving phase. And everybody goes through it. It's just part of our human nature. And I really went through that phase when I realized that I was in the matrix. And now I'm no longer in the matrix because I can see. And once I could see, it was like I was really, really mad at one point, right? Because you go through this phase where you're like
Yes.
really sad, and then you're really mad, and then I'm just like, how could I be this old and not understand what's really happening? And then it's been a fascinating journey ever since then because I'm really trying to help people with their faith and their health. I believe that's why God has me on this earth, is to help people with their health and then their faith through their health, which I think is a unique position. But I've been having a blast doing that because I just love trying to help people learn how their body works and get the right nutrients in their body to help them heal just naturally the way God intended. And there's so many free things we can do for our health that are really game changers if you just realize them and understand them. And then you can start doing the free things, and then you can start adding some additional components in. And guess what, man? God made your body so wonderfully that it can heal itself. None of our products heal anything or anybody. God is the ultimate healer. We just got to get your body in the right state so it can heal. So there you go.
That's right up my alley. That is right up my alley.
I like it.
I love that. And that is so unconventional. This idea, especially in the Western world, of us being able to heal ourselves
Yeah.
through our belief and energetically. Like, that is something that is so unconventional. It seems so unreal and impossible
Right.
because we've been taught that everything is kind of outside of us
Right.
in the material world, right?
Right.
I think that to realize that everything in the material world is supposed to be a supplement in terms of helping us, in addition, kind of like another benefit to what we already have within ourselves and within God and source and that higher power to be able to help us.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
that one goes without the other, right? We have to work with them together.
That's
But
right.
it's hard, right? When we sit on here on this podcast and talk about things like that, and people are probably like, that's just the
Right.
crazy people, because I think often those of us who are awake are looked at as, here's the crazies who are just trying to go against the grain and like do something and be difficult. But I think that there's so much value in the way that you're doing it because you're standing as your evidence. You are the evidence
Right.
of what happens when we wake up and when we realize the value of what we put in our mouths and how we nurture our bodies, and what the value of having that connection to our higher power is. Like, when we put those things together, you're literally the walking embodiment of that. And how do you think that having this information about molecular
Molecular
hydrogen
hydrogen. Yeah.
molecular hydrogen how do you think that can benefit people? Like, why do you think that once people become aware of it, it's something that can be so life changing?
Yeah, the thing that's really cool is it's all comes from God's creation. That's my goal with this new solution, was to do a mind body soul solution. So literally, just like what you were talking about, we are more than just our physical body, right? We have a mind, we have a soul, and we have a body. And how can you use everything that God gave us to help us? And so I was doing all the research on the nutrients, and then when I was introduced to molecular hydrogen and the benefits of it. So we took these 7 ingredients there's organic barley grass, organic wheatgrass, aloe leaf, saffron, cumin, frankincense, and myrrh. Those are the 7 biblical ingredients in our supplement, and they're great ingredients. They give you all the nutrients you need for your day. They help with stress relief. They help with gut health. They help with inflammation, and so then you add this molecular hydrogen blend. And when I did research on molecular hydrogen, it's awesome because there's been thousands of studies already done on molecular hydrogen and the benefits of it. So it's really amazing. But now we've got a solution where your body creates the molecular hydrogen. So when you take our capsules, you ingest them and it interacts with the body fluid in your body creates molecular hydrogen, then your body consumes it. So then, okay, what does that mean? Well, the neat thing about it is it acts as a master antioxidant. So it gets rid of the free radicals in your bloodstream, aka cancer cells and other bad cells that are not supposed to be there. It helps extract. And then it helps the mitochondrial process, which is the basic way your cells work. It helps that be more efficient and effective. And so you go look at the research and you say, okay, how does it help with cardiovascular issues? How does it help with blood sugar issues? How does it help with weight loss? How does it help with these things? And you start looking at the research, you're like, holy smokes, this is amazing. And we have a unique solution that nobody else has in the world that can combine these 7 ingredients that have those amazing benefits. But then you add the molecular hydrogen to it, and there's just nothing like it in the world. That's why I know this product's going to be incredible. And I literally recommend it to everybody, because if you have one of those top 5 issues, it's going to help you. And if you want to prevent from having those issues, it's also going to help. So it's just absolutely phenomenal. I'm super excited to share it with the world. And then the last thing not last thing, but one of the things that's super important is we include a prayer guide that goes with every product, because we literally want you to read it with your eyes and say it out loud and hear yourself say it. So you're declaring to the Lord that you want his help, and you're reading a specific Bible verse related to it and then praying. And by doing that, it's my prayer to God that maybe God will heal that person because they asked. A lot of people may not be praying about their health. And if they do, then maybe God will heal them. He is the ultimate healer. He can heal us, anybody. And so I'm just praying that the mind, body, spirit solution that we have with the prayer guide, and then we have a reading plan that goes further into those scriptures if you're interested, so you can really understand the meaning behind them, and then you combine it with the amazing benefits of the supplement, and it's game changing. There's nothing else like it in the world, and I'm just so excited to get this out to the world, because I know, not selfishly, but because I know the benefit it's going to provide for people. And that gets me so excited, because that's how I started when the pandemic hit. Lord, how can I help? Right. And I had no idea how to help. I was a salesperson selling enterprise software. I had no idea about nutrition. I had no idea about these incredible herbs from the Bible. I had no idea the body was made up of energy. I had no really idea about mind, body, soul connection, and how important our mind is, how important our soul is. And so that's what's been happening the last 4 years, is just my deep dive into all of that. And now I'm just like, oh my gosh, I really feel that I'm stepping into what God designed me to be. And I'm here to help people with their health and their faith through their health. So
Rob, this sounds like really powerful stuff that you've been talking about, and clearly a lot of people can benefit from this.
yeah.
I'm curious why you think that health information like this and other natural healing modalities are being censored from the mainstream.
Yeah, man, that's a loaded question, but it's an amazing question. So thank you for asking. But it's literally 100% all about money. And so if you do research on the medical industry and how it was transformed and basically taken over in the early 1900s in the United States, you do research on the Flexner report and how that happened. and how the Rockefellers changed our educational system through that report with our medical schools and then the vilification of all natural health doctors back then. It's just enlightening. You're like, holy smokes, this is one, it's nefarious. And there's amazing people in the medical field. There's millions of people that are in it that are awesome people. They're really, really trying to help people. But unfortunately, the system is set up for their failure, right? I was just watching a podcast by a woman named Casey Means, and she was a Stanford educated doctor and the surgeon. So she was an ear, nose, throat surgeon, and she kept fixing people with their problem, but it was like a lot of it was from inflammation. And she got frustrated because she just kept fixing this problem and they come back, the same problem. She started to try to step back and say, why do these people keep coming in? And no one cared. They're like, you've got a job to do. You've got 10 surgeries to do today. Go do your job. Go do your surgeries. And she's like, hold it. I got to go back and look what's happening. And so she's got this amazing book that she's written, and she's gone through and did that same research I did. And it's so gratifying for me to see that she's literally in the mainstream media now talking about the things that I've been doing research on and edifying everything that I talked about. So I'm like, oh, amen, right? This is real, and it's not something just a conspiracy, real. And it all comes down to money. And so she's just like, we need to change the way we look at health. And guess where she starts off, right? She starts off with nutrition and what you eat. And so that's, I'm just like, okay, I love this girl because that's the same conclusion I came to. And she just was lucky enough to have a huge platform. She was able to get on Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson, I think their interview had like 5 million views in the first 24 hours. So I was like, yay, this is awesome. So it's money. And the pharmaceutical industry, you see all those ads on TV that talk about a really weird medicine that you've never heard of or a weird problem you've never heard of, and you're like, why is that on TV? No one ever buys any of that from there. They don't go to their practitioner and say, hey, I want this blah 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 blah. It's just because they're buying up that TV time, right? So they're spending money with the network, and then they can control what the network does. And that's just one little piece of the whole corruption mechanism that is big pharma. So the good news, I think a lot of people are becoming awake and aware of that problem. And so I think the pandemic was really shown a really bright light on that problem. And if people look at things that happened during that period and all the vilification of doctors and all natural health ways to help yourself, and now you see the problems that are happening with all the things that they were recommending, you can see that how nefarious that side of the world is. And you just get out of the matrix, as I want people to do. And the only way you can get out of the matrix is doing research for yourself. Go figure it out for yourself. And is Rob crazy? Maybe you might catch him, and that's fine. But I don't care what you think. I want you to go research it for yourself, right? And then prove me wrong. If you prove me wrong, I would love to hear about it. But I think when you go to try to prove me wrong, you're going to go say, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I love this, and I think that should be part of your campaign. Is Rob crazy, right?
Yeah, is Rob. I like it. In fact, I think I'm going to start doing some social media like that. Right? It's like, right, is this guy nuts or what?
Is Rob crazy? I agree with everything that you're saying, and it is so true. The problem so big in this country, and when you look back at it, some of the things that you shared that you came up with in part of your research, you have to pay attention to those things. And it's really hard to negate their truth, because if you look all around us, so you look, for example, Europe, Central America, South America, just to name a very few, you kind of realize, why is this happening here? Why are there so many health issues in a first world country with all the resources, information?
Yeah.
And
we should be the healthiest country in the world, right? We should be.
Why aren't we the healthiest country? We are the country that has all the resources to do it. And that is the reason why. I completely agree. I love this. I want to ask you one more question, because this product that you're talking about sounds so amazing. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to come back to this episode when I walk into a drugstore in a couple of years and I see this product.
I'm excited for that day to happen. It's going to happen. It's
I have no doubt. And you said it's called Exodus Strong. Can you tell us, I know you mentioned a little bit about how it can help people. Can you tell us anything else that would be helpful for our audience to know about it, and for people to be on the lookout for when it's out there for all of us to grab off the shelf?
Yeah, so the cool thing is you can get it today just by going to exodusstrong.com, and the product is literally called Exodus. So it's a supplement called Exodus, and it has seven biblical ingredients I mentioned, and then the molecular hydrogen blend that there's no other product on the shelves like it. And there's lots and lots of scientific evidence. You go to hydrogenstudies.com or molecularhydrogenstudies.com, and you can look at all of the thousands of reports and scientific studies that have already been done on it. But we're the first one who's combined it with those ingredients and make it effective in your body. So it's just so exciting. So if you look at those top health issues that people are having today, with cardiovascular issues, stress issues, blood sugar issues, this product helps with dramatically inflammation. Inflammation is very, very important because inflammation, I have this podcast called I Am Pain Free, right? And I've been doing pain relief research for over 2 years. I've been doing that because we've had this company with QE Strong. That our main product is a pain relief patch. So I've been working on pain for a very, very long time. My podcast is only that long or that old. And so pain relief is really a difficult issue. And a lot of pain, it comes from inflammation. If you just look at our product helps with inflammation. And then you start looking at the benefits of what molecular hydrogen will do for you in general. And it's like, wow, this can really help with really significant problems that people have, as well as help prevent significant problems if you are relatively healthy. It gives you the nutrients you need for the day, and it helps prevent problems and or helps resolve some of those issues. So that's why I'm just so over the moon excited. And then you combine it with this prayer guide, right? And you're using the mind, body, soul solution. You're not just using a capsule to put in your body and you're going about your day. You're really thinking about it. You're having a conversation and you're praying about it. And the combined solution, then we're building a community, an Exodus community, where we want people to work together. Like, hey, what worked for me? What didn't work for me? What worked for you? Let's figure out ways where we can work together. Where do we get good food, right? How do we source good food, right? How do we get these nutrients that we need that outside? How do we get rid of these ultra processed foods that we're being fed? It's just amazing what's happened to our food supply. So we're really trying to help not only with this product, but just help with the community and help with people to just come together. Let's get healthy naturally.
It's amazing. Rob, thank you so much for being our guest today. Listeners, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Join us next time as we continue to explore incredible stories of courage and innovation. Until then, keep challenging the ordinary and flying upstream.
All right, free spirits, that's all the time we have for today on Flying Upstream.
We hope this episode sparked your curiosity and ignited a desire to explore the extraordinary paths less traveled.
Even when the current feels strong, a whole world of possibilities awaits.
We'll see you next time on the other side of mainstream.
So keep questioning, keep challenging, and most importantly, keep flying upstream.